Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This one's from user ApprehensivePanda14. Caught cheating, then admitted to more. So this was a while ago, but it's something that still bothers me and confuses me to this day. Back in high school, I dated a girl, let's call her Jamie. I was infatuated with this girl and felt like she was way out of my league. Well, she came from a family where her family really didn't like the fact that I was black. Me being young and stupid always ignored this and never let it bother me. Anyways, her older sister, who also did not like me, was having a birthday party at her house while her parents were out of town. I asked Jamie if I could come and even procured some alcohol for the birthday girl as a peace offering. Jamie told me that her sister did not want me there, and I accepted that, albeit begrudgingly, and told her to have a fun night. The next day, everything is great. She tells me she had fun. We go to a mutual friend's house who has a pool and hang out there all afternoon, kissing, laughing, all the things people do when they're young and in love. What Jamie didn't realize is that over the course of our relationship, I had become very good friends with a family friend of her family. Let's call this girl Taylor. On my way home, Taylor calls me saying I had to break up with Jamie. When I ask why, she informs me that at her sister's party, she had slept with a guy I know. Let's call him Paul. A little backstory on Paul is that he would also come to me literally crying when his girlfriend would fight or when they were dealing with very serious things. It is when she gave him an STD. I get Paul's number from Taylor and we end the call. I then call Jamie sitting outside my house with my palms sweaty and my chest so tight I can hardly breathe. That is definitely a weird feeling. She answers and I calmly tell her that someone at the party told me she had slept with Paul and I'd need to know if it was true and she needs to tell me the truth. Of course, she denies it. So I repeat myself this time saying, hey, I have Paul's number. You really probably shouldn't lie to me. She denies again. I get off the phone and immediately call Paul and he answers. I ask him how him and his girlfriend are doing, trying to make small talk. He informs me that they are taking a break. So I guess he didn't cheat? In the most calm voice I can muster, I ask him, did you sleep with Jamie at the party from last night? Before he gets a word out, I say, Paul, I already know the answer. Please don't lie to me or I will have to beat you up. I don't usually do this, but at this point I was fuming. He informs me that they did in fact sleep together and that she had just texted him asking him to lie to me. I guess he could hear how serious I was and wanted no part of that. He starts to make excuses about how he thought we were broken up and stuff. I just cut him off, thank him for telling me the truth, and tell him to never try to speak to me again or there will be issues. I then call Jamie back and proceed to lay into her about it. I have some choice words that I never use and get off the phone. At this point I was in tears and couldn't understand why she did it to me. The next day at school I decide I needed to talk to her in person, so after school we are sitting in my car and I have the most dumbfounded look of disbelief. She starts crying, saying how she was drunk and didn't mean to do it. I, stupidly, take her back. From this point on, things are clearly not going to work out. I turned into a jealous person and we argued all the time about things I previously could give a crap about. Finally, about a month of literally getting mad every other day, I go to break it off with her again. She is crying hysterically, which makes me want to cry, but I don't. I just say I need to know the truth about everything, no more lies. She agrees to tell me the truth. Again, at this point I had become a very jealous person, so I start naming the people that I think she has been with. She tells me no to all of them. Good news, right? Wrong. She then proceeds to tell me about 8 guys she has kissed or hooked up with. 8 different guys. Hearing that made a light turn off in my head. I literally stopped caring about that person right then and there. I silently started the car, drove back to my school and told her to get out and to never speak to me again. To this day, almost 10 years later, it still confuses me why she was with me. Like, just go be with these people. For years after that, I would ruin relationships because I felt like I couldn't trust anyone. Even though that still confuses me today, it's just an afterthought. Well, OP, you hit the nail on the head with that question, and I think that's a question most of us have when it comes to somebody cheating on you. Like, why stay with me if you clearly don't care about me or don't want to be with me? What are you getting out of this, of cheating with other people? Like, man, woman, it doesn't matter. Cheaters are cheaters and they suck. And that question, OP, is one that confuses the hell out of a lot of us. Is it a self-image thing or self-love that if you accept that you are a cheater, then you're accepting you're a bad person? Because you know you are. If you cheat, you become a horrible person right away. What do you guys think? Has any of you ever been able to answer this question? It'd be great to know, so if you do know, please write it down in the comment section. And there's still some time left in the video, so let's move on to another story. This one's from user Creative Gamer Tag, my worst breakup. So, circa 2010 or so, I met a guy, we'll call him John. John was a model, he was tall, he was sweet, and he was into me. Only problem was, he was moving home in 2 weeks and I was about to start a 2-year college program. We decided we would give long distance a try. He came to visit one week. He visited a few times. A couple days in, he was really distracted and on his phone a lot. He disappeared into the bathroom and came out crying. He told me his friend Matt had passed away from cancer. I did what I could to comfort him. Called the airlines, paid the fees, and got him home as early as I could. Fast forward about 2 years. His birthday was the day before mine in December, and I thought it would make a great gift for us both if I could fly to his city and surprise him. So I found his mom on Facebook, figuring I'd scheme the whole thing with her. His family had just gotten back from a trip to Disneyland. His mom had updated her status to reflect this, and I've never forgotten the wording. Home now from Disneyland, where my oldest son John got engaged to a wonderful girl, Amanda. Hold the phone! I called him. I texted him, repeatedly, for hours. He finally called me and I asked him, "So, who's Amanda?" And he said, "A friend from home." Please note, I could actually hear his breathing change. I doubled down. "Just a friend?" And he says, "Yeah, why?" And that's when I tell him about his mom's post on Facebook and he says he's not engaged. At this point, I ask him if his mom made that up and he replies, "I guess so." And I follow up with, "Why would she do that?" And he deflects with the typical, "I don't know, you'd have to ask her." Now, since I had their house phone number, I could call her, so I ask him, "Do you want me to?" And then there's silence. So I finally asked him, "Are you engaged?" And he answers, "Yes." And that's when I lost my crap. I called him a lot of awful things and swore a whole lot. He begged me to let him be the one to tell his fiancée, and this is the part of the story I am least proud of. John owed me about $3,000, so I told him I wouldn't tell Amanda as long as he paid me back, which he did. Fast forward a little under a year later, I still regretted not ever talking to Amanda and I wondered if he had ever come clean. I couldn't find her on Facebook, so I contacted one of her friends. Yes, stalkerish, I'm aware. Lexi was a good friend of Amanda and was the one who had set her up with John. John had told his family and friends about me, but said I was just his best friend. Lexi told me that John had told Amanda he'd been cheating on her, but he glossed over some of the salient details. Like when we had started and stopped sleeping together, the actual nature of our relationship, and he tried to use my then undiagnosed depression against me, saying he didn't know what I would do if he broke up with me. Amanda forgave him, kept the engagement ring, and they moved in together and started planning their wedding. The more Lexi and I talked, the more concerned we both became. See, John had moved to another city for work for a time and left Amanda at home in a long-distance relationship. And his stories did not add up. The tipping point was when I learned Matt was in fact not dead. Process that for a minute. That crap is horrifying. So Lexi put me in touch with Amanda. Amanda and I talked over the phone. It was even more awkward than you think, especially because John was in the room with her while she was talking to me. I learned he had given her an STD. I got tested immediately post-breakup. I was clean, thank God. And he pinned that on me, so that was unpleasant. My guess is when he went to the third city, he found a girl there and brought home a souvenir to his fiancée. She ended up leaving him. I never heard from him again, but last I knew, he was in his early 30s, single, and back living with his parents because he couldn't keep a job. People sometimes tell me they aren't sure the whole thing could have been worse, but yes, it could have. I could have been the girl he proposed to. I was young and I'd never been in a serious relationship before. I had a lot of self-esteem issues. I really cared about him and I obviously thought it was mutual. The money he owed me added up over time. I was in college, yes, but also employed and living with my parents rent-free, and they also paid for my schooling. Not that it matters, but it wasn't an undergrad degree, but a much less intense 2-year diploma program. I was in a better position financially, so I helped my boyfriend. Did I learn? Obviously. P.S. If you're wondering about Matt, he was a friend of John's. He did actually have cancer and passed away a couple years later, but John lied to me about Matt dying so he could go home to Amanda. Wow, OP, what a scumbag of a guy that John was. Using his friend's illness to get away from you so he could go to his other girlfriend. Then also getting a third girl in another city and getting an STD which he brought back to his fiancée. Like you said, OP, it could have been worse. You could have been the one on the receiving end of that ring and be stuck with that dude. It's a good thing Amanda dropped him too. He deserved everything coming to him. Good on you for following up on him talking to his fiancée. You did her a favor. And if anybody ever tells you that you went back on your word of not saying anything if he paid up, I'm sorry, but cheaters don't get to have a moral high ground when it comes to this kind of stuff. So what do you guys think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comment section. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Also, if you feel like chatting with others from this community, you can always join my Discord server and check out my subreddit. I'll leave the links in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.